Fence Post.
Good afternoon, Green Valley, and welcome to another episode of the Fence Post. I am here alongside my co-host,
Matt Nevels.
And we have a very special guest here today, Green Valley's, I don't want to use the word living legend.
I think that's an appropriate thing to use.
But I think that is.
Local celebrity,
local all-star, the Missouri State Women's Gatorade Player of the Year. Nice. Yeah. Grace Slaughter. Grace, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So, obviously, you've been playing basketball for a long time, and I know as a Green Valley alum, a Green Valley person, I was working at other school districts, and people just kept telling me, hey, we've got a girl coming up that is really good. And I'm like, okay, we've had good girls before. They're like, no, Jason, we've got a girl coming up. And I'm teaching other schools, like, have you been to see Grace play yet? Have you been to see Grace play yet? I'm like, no, I don't even go to school there. And they're like, no, you got to go see Grace play.
Is this why you came back to Green Valley?
I came back specifically for your last 2 years. How's that make you feel?
Wow, that's crazy.
He does like to embellish things here. So.
No, I'm not gonna tie that to the fact that I'm back and you've won Gatorade Player of the Year, and before I was here, you didn't.
I mean, that is a good point.
So in science, there's a precept called causation does not imply correlation. So
he says all these fancy stuff, and we don't quite understand it.
So it backwards. So that's not.
So obviously, Grace, you've been playing basketball for a long time, and I just kind of want to get into that a little bit. When did you start playing basketball?
I started playing first grade. I was in the co-ed GVA league, and actually by winning the Gatorade Girls Player of the Year, I got to donate $1,000 to a organization of my choice, and so I gave it to the GVA league.
Oh, nice!
It was just a super special organization to grow up in. That your town and just kids you go to school with, to play with them. That was a neat experience. And then I ended up playing for a comp team for my parents called the Blazers. And then once I grew out of that a little bit, they kind of wanted someone else to coach me. I ended up playing for a team called the Future, and later for my last team, Phenom. And so all of those teams have had such a big impact on me and helped with traveling, colleges seeing me, all of the above, and it's been a great experience.
So first grade, you said you played for your parent, or you said parents, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Did both of them coach?
They did, and my mom was the good cop, dad was the bad cop.
That's so surprising.
Had that scenario going on, and it was a lot of fun with them, and they both played at William Jewell.
Okay,
so
that was going to be my next question. So clearly, if you have both parents coaching a comp team, clearly there's some basketball background.
For sure, yeah, and they were able to coach us, I think, up until about, I want to say 5th grade maybe, and then they kind of let it go into the hands of us to decide where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do.
You say us.
So there was probably about 3 of us that made it all the way through. It was me, Cameron Bound, and Ella Kleiman. We all played together since about 2nd grade.
And so at that point they're like, listen, you're actually becoming pretty good at this. This is beyond probably what we, not that they're not capable of it, but
exactly.
We all know it as parents. We're like, listen, this is time that it's clear that you enjoy this. Have you always enjoyed playing? Was there times that it was a struggle to get you to go to practice, or have you just always enjoyed doing it?
I mean, for sure, but I think some things that really stand out is, one is when I moved to Future. That was my first comp team without my parents. I was playing on a really, really good team, and you're like, how good could 6th graders be? But I mean, about that whole team is going to Division I to play college basketball. And I wasn't starting. There was a game I think I didn't even get in, like 6th grade, and my dad was worried. And my mom told me this like a couple years ago. My dad was like, Becky, I'm worried this is going to break her. She's not going to like this sport anymore. And my mom was like, well, it's going to break her or it's going to make her. So
nice.
We're going to she's going to play this sport, or she's going to decide she wants to do something else. And like you said, they've always been there to help me. And even though there's been times we've recognized, okay, maybe I can't give you all the help. We're going to be here to rebound for you. I mean, they've done so much for me, from staying up till 11 at the gym, getting up at 4 to go shoot, like whatever it is, they've always been there to try to help me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and clearly, basketball, you clearly have natural ability. I mean, nobody gets a Division I offer, no matter what the sport is, without some natural ability. And I guarantee there's people that see you play, they see that you're taller than most females, and taller than Mr. Neville's Matt over there. So I'm 6'5", and so I don't think you're taller than me.
Exaggeration.
Is that an exaggeration by a few inches? but that what you just said is the thing. People that haven't had a dream of playing college or been it, that don't understand the 11 o'clock at nights, the 4 o'clock in the mornings. They come and they watch you play for whatever 2 hours, and they think, oh man, she just makes it look easy because she's just that gifted, and they don't understand the hard work you put in outside of just a normal practice.
Well, thank you. I mean, that means a lot, because you're right, there's definitely God-given ability, but there's also godly blessings. I mean, he's blessed me with incredible parents, incredible people, and also the amenities. I mean, to have access to a gym, to have access to amazing trainers that have helped me, it's all a huge blessing, but also a part of the process.
Yeah, and I know you've had great coaches, and one of them that you haven't mentioned yet, which is probably single-handedly the most important coach in your life, I will state it right now, is Coach Draper.
For sure.
I thought you were going to say yourself.
No. Listen, I'm modest, man. I'm modest. And the reason why I say that is because Coach Draper has changed so many kids' lives. Obviously encouraged you to play basketball. He encouraged me to quit basketball and wrestle. He said, Jason,
which was the right choice.
Wrestling is definitely more your sport. We don't need you out here on the basketball. Well, that's not quite how it worked. Coach, I think that's how it worked. But no, he recognized early on that, yes, Jason, you can't do that. You will play a total of 45 seconds if you play basketball that way.
Well, that's 45 seconds more than I would have gotten.
So kind of just talk about, you mentioned all that. So now you're in high school. Kind of talk about how your experience has been playing for the Eagles for the last 4 years.
Oh man, it's been incredible. There's so many things I could touch on, but just probably the atmosphere that Draper's created. The girls, I mean, my freshman year we were 4A, then sophomore year we jumped to 6A, which is the biggest class, probably the smallest team in the biggest class.
For sure.
It was also COVID, so that was interesting. But I mean, Coach Draper, that is a friendship and coaching relationship I will cherish for a lifetime. He's the first person I call when I hear news. He came to my physical therapy when I hurt my knee. I swear I saw him every single night. I was there. He was watching film. He'd come in. He'd check on me. How you doing, Grace? What are we doing? After I talk to colleges, I'll always keep him updated. He is just someone I truly trust and am truly thankful to have had coach me for the past 4 years. I wouldn't have chosen anywhere else to go to.
Yeah, and just an overall, nice guy. I'm definitely a future fence post guest for sure. But my wife was pulling out a Sonic once, and her car died. And a car came up fast, stopped, parked in the middle of Main Street, and Draper gets out and has to push my wife's car across Main Street into the Armstrong parking lot, looks at her and goes, next time that Finster maker come help you. She's like, I didn't even know he recognized me. But just obviously a super nice guy. And so, I love what basketball has done for you so far. Just kind of, you've done more than just play on some competitive teams. You've also, if I'm not mistaken, worn the red, white, and blue on some events, right? Kind of talk about that. What has it been like to be able to play and be selected to play on some of the national type teams? For
sure. I mean, super special. My freshman year, I came in fresh. I even missed the first day of school, I think, where I got to go represent Central from USA in the Junior NBA Global Championships. So we played Canada in the championship game against the world. So that was such an incredible experience. I can still remember. I still have some of the girls' messages on my phone from China,
Oh,
Africa, like all over the world, and it was so neat to get to trade pins with them, get to communicate with them, I mean, just play with them. I mean, game recognizes game, so that was a really cool experience.
That's very cool.
And also to see other girls who I feel like I've created really close relationships from the U.S. as well. So that was coming in my freshman year. And then after my sophomore year, which was like kind of the funky COVID year with masks and testing and all that sort of thing, I got to try out for the U16 junior Olympic team. And so normally they have those trials or tryouts at the Colorado Training Center, but because of COVID, they were kind of moving the trials around. So we were in Indiana, and I actually had my mom drive me there. They were going to pay for my flight, they were going to do that, but I was kind of scared because some of the girls who had already been vaccinated did not have to quarantine as long for the girls who didn't. So me and my mom made a little road trip out of it, and she dropped me off the morning of so we could find a gym that morning to shoot at. And then she dropped me off, I tested, quarantined for 2 days, and then the trials began. I think it might have been end of May, early June. So I ended up making the team, which was a 12-person roster, and I had the summer to compete on my comp team, and then came back in August to have team training camp, which was about 2 weeks, and then go to Mexico. It was going to be in Chile, but they were having a very bad COVID
outbreak,
crisis, outbreak. So they moved it to Mexico, and we went there and we competed. Once again, got to meet girls from all over, North America, all over. It was just super, super neat. We played Canada once again in the championship, and that was also crazy too. It was my first time out of the country, but without my parents, we were not allowed any contact. If our parents were even came into the hotel, we were gone. So, that was hard on me. I'm such a homebody. Doing that without my family. My dad actually went down there to watch me play, so he'd work during the day, and then I was not allowed any contact with him, but
you knew he was there at least.
Oh yeah, I got to see him.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then even during the games, we had armed military men with machine guns at the top of the arena. So super cool experience.
A little bit scary,
yeah, but it was amazing, and I'm super, super thankful for the experience.
Yeah, not knowing any different, that was your experience.
Right.
Obviously in a different year, being able to visit the city and see things and do stuff obviously would have been different, but that is your experience. But once you make an Olympic team, right, then it will be a little bit different.
Oh yeah,
that will supersede that experience.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's got to be somewhat of a goal, right? You've got the taste of international competition. Obviously, you're talking about another probably 12 to 15 person roster of the best women.
Yeah.
But as a competitor of you, it's had to have crossed your mind at some point, right?
For sure.
Man, I'd like to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And that was probably why it was even more of a heartbreak when I hurt my knee my junior year, because I would have gotten a tryout for each team. So I would have been able to try out for the U17 team, but since I was hurt, I wasn't able to. So it's some of the age groups kind of changed a little bit. I think this year was U19, so I'm a year too young.
Okay.
So we'll see if ever any of those age groups ever match up. But you're right. Of course, that's crossed my mind. And women definitely stay in the league for a while, so you got to earn your spot and keep it. Yeah. But it's definitely a goal and something I'd love to work towards.
Yeah, there's nothing. I remember I was in 4th grade and had the goal of being a Kansas City Chief. And for the first time this weekend, actually, I was actually down on the field. We were at a brewing festival, and I'm down there, and I'm just like, God, if Coach Ravello would have put me in at quarterback,
I could still. You're getting close.
Yeah.
You're getting closer.
I was invited to the field. Yes, I have a picture of me sitting in Patrick Mahomes' locker, and I'm just thinking that jersey could still say Finstermaker right now.
Wow.
Now, it'd be a lot longer. It'd be down the side. I'd be a 40, going on 41-year-old quarterback.
Right.
Heck,
well, it's happened.
Yeah,
Tom Brady.
it's happened.
Yeah.
You were robbed of your
All
glory.
right, so here we are. You've done all this international stuff. You've done all this high school stuff, and you just won, like I said earlier, and I wasn't making light of it because I like Powerade more than Gatorade, but that's just me. That's just me. Gatorade's good too. I don't want to insult Gatorade.
If you want to come on to the show,
yes, if you want to come on and defend yourself, that's fine. You can come on. We'll do a blind sampling. So you win Missouri Gatorade Player of the Year, which is just what people don't understand. Just a huge feat.
Yeah.
And now you're going to Mizzou. So what kind of led you to? Did you always know you were going to Mizzou? Was that like a given from the beginning? If Mizzou ever offers, I'm going.
Did you look anywhere else? Or
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm trying to think. I was definitely very young when I committed. I was about in 8th grade when I really started talking to coaches and getting that experience of calling them on the phone. I think junior MBA really opened up that avenue. And so my whole freshman year, I was talking to Mizzou and creating a relationship with them. So a little intro to that is I've grown up a huge Mizzou fan and Mizzou family. We love them. I've just grown up watching football on Saturdays, going to the men's and women's games. It's been super special to me and my family. So once I finally got to start building that relationship with the coaches for about a year, I had been offered. I think my only other offer at the time was Missouri State. I was talking to some other places, but I think those were my only 2 like real offers. And I mean, I had a coach come talk to me. He's like, Grace, what are you waiting on? Like, this is your dream school. You've grown up loving this place. You've grown up knowing and understanding like what their identity is about, and now you've gotten to have a connection and build a relationship with the coaches. What are you waiting on? I was like, you know what? You're like, what are you waiting on? I mean, we have the same goals, and when they see me like as a basketball player, they not just see me as a basketball player, but as a human, and getting to develop there is just super special. And so getting to commit there as a freshman was also very special because I've gotten to build a relationship with them for the past 3 years and know what they're expecting of me when I come in there.
Yeah.
Really in a couple weeks for summer workouts, and getting prepared to really help this program and hopefully do something special there.
That's awesome.
You know, when I was on the 8th grade quiz bowl team at Pleasantly Junior High, I was not talking to coaches from Mizzou.
No, what you might not know is I was also offered by Mizzou. That was to leave after my freshman year, but no.
But they made you an offer.
They made me an offer that I could or could not refuse. No, I actually went to Mizzou as a freshman. Obviously, I played multiple sports in college, but wasn't at your level. That's because Coach wouldn't put me in in the right position. I played, just the wrong position.
You know what would have happened if he put you in.
Yes, but I same with you. You know, I never had parents that pushed me in any direction when it came to athletics and stuff like that, but I was a huge Mizzou fan. I gave up scholarship offers just because I wanted to be at Mizzou, and so I went there, and then after a little bit I'm like, God, I gotta play sports, and then I look at the people, I'm like, but it won't be here. And so I'm super excited to see what the future holds for you, playing at can you call it an alma mater if you just paid them? You're the science guy.
I think it's allowed.
So I went to 3 different universities. Can I have 3 different alma maters?
Yes, you absolutely can. I approve.
Can you go? Well, don't say that out loud because then they're going to just request donations.
Right.
All of them request
The phone's
donations.
ringing as we speak.
Yes. And so my question is this. I don't exactly know how the NIL deal works. Do you? Have they told you?
A little bit. I'm pretty sure we'll have classes on it and how we can help our name, image, and likeness.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a business I own would have a hard time sponsoring somebody under a certain age.
Yes.
But I'll have to do some digging, and the second you become of age,
an official sponsor.
you could. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Okay.
I will give you your first NIL deal right here, unless it's illegal, Mizzou. Then I'm not offering anything. Not offering anything. But you have your first unofficial written offer to sponsor a company, as long as that's how it works. I have no idea how it works.
Clearly.
I don't know if all the money's thrown into a pot and then they divvy it up. Mizzou, reach out. Mm-hmm. I have money set aside for Grace.
For Grace Slaughter.
Okay, not for anybody else. Okay, so it can't go into a kitty that anybody gets.
So if I make a D1 Quiz Bowl team, it's not for me? Is that what you mean?
No, it is definitely not for you.
All right.
The football team has let me down far too many years for me to donate any money to them.
That is fair.
No, Grace, I know, the number one thing I love seeing as a former coach, I was a head wrestling coach for about 10 years. And when I talked to Coach Draper and I talked to everybody else, this is the most we've ever talked since my illustrious return. But the best part about the best thing I appreciate about you and your legacy that you leave from Green Valley is the fact that every coach I ever talk to says, yeah, she's a great athlete, but she's also the hardest worker on the team.
Yes.
But she's a great leader.
She's a great kid. Yep.
And when you have that as a coach, that is the easiest thing in the world, because it's hard when your best athlete is a pain in the ass, isn't a hard worker, isn't somebody you want the young kids to look up to.
Right.
That's stressful as a coach. But when you have it where your best athlete is your hardest worker and the person you want everybody to be like.
A great role model.
And a great role model. Man, that makes it so hard. And as a Grain Valley alum and a Grain Valley teacher and a Grain Valley business owner and a Grain Valley resident, I thank you for that, because obviously, your parents taught you a lot of good things, but I know there's a lot of good parents out there that have kids that don't act right. We definitely know that as teachers.
Oh, yeah.
I'll imagine, yeah.
And so more so than putting Grain Valley girls basketball on the map with your play, I appreciate what you've done for inside those brick walls with what you've done in the classroom and off the court. So,
and you really do give Grain Valley residents and Grain Valley students something to watch and enjoy, and it's fun to see you do what you do. So we do appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Grain Valley residents, what this means is it is not too late to throw away the red and blue with that funny looking bird on there. Throw it away.
What is that bird? I don't get it.
We are at Mizzou is accepting bandwagon jumpers. Okay? If you're just going to not say that Mizzou girls basketball is your favorite girls basketball school, that's fine too. Right. But we will accept all newcomers to the Mizzou bandwagon now that Grace is going there.
Go with Grace.
That's almost like a slogan. That's almost go with Grace.
Go with Grace.
There we go. There we go.
Maybe that's what Mizzou-like T-shirts that say "Go with Grace." We sell them. Well, we can't be, we sell them, and that's part of our NIL deal.
Look at
that. Making deals right here. All right, Grain Valley, thank you very much. For Matt and Grace, I'm Jason. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
The Fence Post.